Hi everyone, my name is Jana from the Mission Bend Branch Library. Today we're going to be looking at how to make your Microsoft PowerPoint slideshow into a video. We'll be focusing on the Transition, Animation, and Slideshow tabs. And we'll look at how to add transitions, animations, and timings to your presentation. We'll learn how to use the Record Slideshow and Rehearse Timings options. And we'll learn how to export your PowerPoint as a video file. Let's get started. So we're going to begin actually with the PowerPoint that I just used to introduce this class. In this PowerPoint, I've gone in and removed all the transitions and animations, so we're kind of starting from scratch in that regard. Before we dive into transitions, I do just want to point out the hide slide feature. So notice over here in the thumbnails, a couple of my slides didn't appear in my presentation and they have these slashes through the number. That's because I added them into my presentation thinking, I might want to use that, and then decided I didn't. And so you'll see by right-clicking on the slide, you get a lot of different options. Hide slide is down here at the bottom. And since that slide was hidden, I click on it and now it's unhidden. I can right-click on it again and hide it. And so that's just helpful if you have some slides you're unsure about using, but you don't want to completely delete them from your presentation. You can just click on them, hide them, and they won't show up in your live presentation. They'll just continue to appear to the left in your thumbnails. Let's go ahead and dive straight into transitions. You'll want to come to the Transition tab. And right off the bat, Microsoft Word gives you a lot of different transition options. You can just click on them to preview them. Some are very simple, and some are a lot more complex, a lot fancier. Of course, anytime you see an arrow in one of the Microsoft products, that means more options, and there's a lot of different transition options. My personal preference is to stick with the simple, clean transitions. I kind of like this reveal one. And personally, I like to use the same transition for all of my slides. I just think it gives more uniformity. You can be as fancy as you want. You can add different transitions to each slide if you want. I'm going to choose reveal, and I'm going to come over here and apply it to all my slides. Just a quick way to add it to all the slides in your presentation. The one thing about the reveal, when I come over here to preview, it is a little bit long. You can see it's almost 3.5 seconds long. And you can always make your transitions longer or shorter. So for this particular one, I'll bump it down. We'll try 1.5 seconds, and I can preview that again. And that's much quicker. I like that a lot better. I'm going to hit apply to all so that timing applies to all my slides as well. And you'll see when you click on the different transitions, each one of them has a different timing. They all have things that are unique. So you can definitely take them and adjust them to your preference. Come back to the reveal, adjust my time one more time, and apply it to all. That's really all I have to say about transitions. Let's move on to animations. You can animate any object in a PowerPoint presentation. So you can animate your text boxes, your pictures, anything that you put in there. I have 2 different text boxes on this first slide, and I don't really want to add animation to them. I want them to, appear just as they are. Let's come on down here to my third slide. I believe what I did was I had these appear. So you'll notice under animations, you have different options. You have options to animate the entrance, to emphasize something, or to affect the exit. And you can get really fancy and add motion paths if you want. For now, we're going to start just with a simple, maybe a fade. And as with the transitions, you can click on each one of these and get a preview. And there are some really neat ones. And of course, the arrow gives you more options. For now, we're just going to go with fade. And that's a little bit quick to me. Just like with transitions, you can adjust the timing on your animations. And so for this, I'm going to make it a little bit longer. And just as with transitions, you can preview your animations as well. And I like that. Now I want to do the exact same thing with this shape that I've added. And so I have a couple of different options. I could just come here and select the fade and then adjust the timing. I can also use this animation painter. So let me click this. This is the animation that I want to copy. And this animation painter works exactly like the format painter. If you've ever used the format painter under the Home tab to copy text format, the animation painter works exactly the same. So I selected the object, selected the animation painter, and now I'm going to select the object I want to copy it to. And then I can preview that. You'll notice also that PowerPoint has added numbers to my animations. So it sees the picture as being the first one and the shape as being the second one. One thing that's very helpful when you're working with animations is this animation pane right here. So anytime you're working with animations, really, you'll want to go ahead and click on that, open it up, and you see on the right, it's going to list all the objects that you have animated and it will order them. Now in this particular instance, I want both my picture and my shape to show up at the same time. So I'm going to come to my shape, and I can, rather than coming in on the click, I can say I want it to come in with the previous object. And now you'll see that the numbers have both changed to 1 because PowerPoint sees that they're both coming in at the same time. And let's preview that. Yeah, and that's exactly how I want it to be. So those are just a few options that you can use with the fade in, or with the entrance animations. Let's move on to the next slide and look at some of the other animation options. Notice all the animation options are grayed out until you actually select an object. And for this, let's look at some of the emphasize options. Again, you can preview them, kind of see all the different emphasis options. For the purposes of today, let's just use a pulse. And that's pretty fast. So let's make it just a little bit longer and give that a preview. That's better. That's more to my speed. Now, PowerPoint does see these as individual. If I wanted to, I could come here to the effects options and have it pulse them all as one object, or I could have it affect them individually but at the same time. I personally would prefer to do it by paragraph. That gives me the options to do it one at a time. And it allows me to advance them myself with a click. So I do like that. That's what we're going to use. So that should give you just a quick overview of the animations. You can use the same timing effects, the same animation effects with the exit animations. So let's go ahead and move on to the slideshow option. The slideshow allows, if you wanted to present this just as it was and not as a video, you could go ahead and present from the beginning and click through your slideshow. This just goes into presentation mode. I'm going to hit escape to get out of presentation mode. We're going to be focusing today on the rehearse timings and the record slideshow options. These operate very similarly. The rehearse timings does not let you record a voiceover. That's the main difference. So if you're wanting to record a voiceover, you'll want to go with the record slideshow. Let's click into the rehearse timings and just kind of see what it looks like. It starts you out in presentation mode, but you'll notice there is a timer up here in the left-hand corner that's timing the slide and the presentation. Now I can come up here and pause it. Maybe I get flustered and have to gather my thoughts, or maybe something comes up that I have to go see about. I can always pause it and come back to it. The other thing is, if I want to try that slide again, give it another go, I can hit this reset, and that's going to pause it and reset the timer. And then when I'm ready, I can just hit resume recording and give it another shot. Now I can advance the slides with my mouse key, and you can see that it's going to time the entire presentation and the individual slides. And it'll notice when I bring in the different objects. And so you can just talk over your slideshow as you would plan to, and you can practice the transitions. And once you're to the end, you can hit escape, and PowerPoint is going to tell you the total time and ask if you want to save the timings. So if you thought that that went well, you can say yes. If you don't want it to save the timings, you want to give it another go, you can say no. But that is rehearse timings in a nutshell. Let's look at record slideshow. Record slideshow does essentially the same thing, but it does allow you to give a voiceover to your presentation as well. And it does allow you to start from the beginning, or you can record from a specific slide. So if you have a very long presentation, you can break it up slide by slide, or if you say make a mistake on one slide, you can go back and just re-record that individual slide. If you've got timings, it allows you to clear the timings on all the slides or just on the current slide, and the same for the narration if there's any narration that you've added. Let's go ahead and just start the recording from the beginning so you can kind of see what it does. And it's going to ask if you want to save the slide and animation timings, the narrations, the laser pointer. So you can check what you'd like and hit start recording. You can see that it looks just the same as rehearse timings. From this part, at least, you can always pause, restart, try your slides again. So we're going to give this a little narration. Today we'll be focusing on the transitions, animations, and slideshow tabs. We'll be exploring transitions, animations, and timings. We'll learn how to use the record slideshow and rehearse timings options. And we'll learn how to export PowerPoint presentations as video files. Thank you for joining us. This time when I hit escape, you can see because I was doing a voiceover, I have this lovely little microphone that shows up in the bottom right hand, and that's going to have the recording of my voiceover. And you can listen to the individual slides. So we're going to give this a little narration. Today we'll be focusing on the transitions, animations, and slideshow tabs. So you can listen, you can adjust as you need. Notice when I click on this microphone that I have this contextual tab up here that has audio tools. So I can format the actual speaker, the icon, but I can also play around with the playback. So I can come in here, I can play it, I can trim it, you know, if there was too much blank space on one side. So you really have several different options with the audio there. And you'll notice that that should appear on every one of my slides since I narrated across the entire presentation, yes. And then, of course, you can listen, you can adjust as many times as you need, and once you're happy with the PowerPoint presentation, that's when it comes to saving it. So to save your presentation as a video file, you'll come to the File tab, you'll go down to Export, and you'll simply hit Create a Video. PowerPoint gives you a few different options as far as the presentation quality. The largest file is good, as it says, for presentation. If you're planning to show it on the internet, medium file size is generally fine. And then the low quality is generally good for handheld devices, your cell phone, things like that. So you'll choose whichever you prefer, and you'll decide if you want to use the recordings and timings, and you'll simply hit Create Video. I'm not going to actually do this right now because it does take quite a long time to save it as a video. So if you're sitting there just waiting and waiting, don't be discouraged. It takes a few minutes. But that is essentially how to add transitions and animations to your PowerPoint presentation and save it as a video file. One other thing that I do want to cover is under the Transition tab. I want to look at if you're not necessarily wanting to do a voiceover for your presentation and you just want to have maybe a photo collage as a video just running in the background. When you go to Transitions, once you set your transitions up, there is this lovely option under timing where rather than advancing on the mouse click, you can have it advance after a certain number of seconds. So that's something that can be very helpful if you have, say, a photo presentation and you just want your photos to kind of flip through. So let's give that a look and see what it looks like. I'm going to hit Apply to All. And let's start this slideshow and just see what that looks like. So 5 seconds is quite a bit of time, but if people are looking at pictures, that's probably appropriate. And under transitions, of course, you can adjust that up and down as needed. In this particular case, I might go to the first slide since that's just the logo, and I might just do that one for like 2 seconds. But then all my other slides you can see are going to change after 5 seconds or so. So that's really what I wanted to show y'all. I wanted to go over transitions, animations, and then how to set up your slideshow. I hope that you enjoyed this, that this was informative, and I hope you come back for our other video classes. Thank you.